Welcome everyone back to Pommy and Oz. Hope we're all doing really well. If you're new around here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get going. Let's get into the 5Ks. We're lagging behind. We started off so strong, and we set ourselves an unlikely goal. We've doubled where we were this time last year. Let's try and get at least halfway by the end of the season. So if you can just do that, it takes 2 seconds of your time, and it kind of just almost validates my existence, believe it or not. But we're back with another review of the VFL, keeping you up to date. Obviously, the VFL of the opposition will be a little bit more nondescript because obviously no AFL listed players in the borough, as they're affectionately known, Port Melbourne. But few names that you may be likely to. But the Blues got up 36 points. 2 major outs, really, for the Blues as well in this. As they continue their 5 wins from 6, they're in a good rut of form as well. The only player of note, really, for the opposition was Tom Hurd, that you may have heard of. I'm sure there'll be people out there who have heard of more. But, yeah, they are in the bottom echelon of this league. And apart from Ethan Phillips, who was really heavily touted during the draft, if you remember, as a mature age, the Blues were better even with the less on the interchange bench. And the Blues really came out of the blocks really strong in this game. They led by a goal, and then they pulled away in the second. And by the third and fourth, they were kind of just going tit for tat. The game had been won and preparing themselves for a really big game this weekend in the VFL ramification stakes, as it were, as they play the old enemy at Vic Park. But a very solid performance. The VFL boys, you can see the confidence is brewing between them all. They're playing some good footy at the minute, some real good, honest brand of football as well. And we're looking forward to seeing where the VFL go. They're definitely a great shout at playing finals. And if you have a chance, hopefully the hangover isn't too strong after we win against their mob on Friday, you get to go and see a Saturday morning 1:05 kickoff, which will be more than if you're hungover. So let's look at the players individually. And Lockie O'Brien, finally a return to form. We've been really hard on him in recent times here because we're looking for him to step up. And he was sensational, to be fair. He showed his maturity levels. He showed his seniority, which I think is really important for a young man like him, really getting to be dominant. He's played a lot of AFL games in his career, and he should be really looking at this stage of his career of looking to take the game on and really show his opposite man what he's about. It's really important that Lockie does that and gets a little bit of confidence. It feels like when you're watching Lockie at the moment, confidence is a big thing, and he's definitely one of them confident players. And 17 kicks, 11 handballs, the 7 tackles. He worked really hard defensively, 10 marks, 5 clearances. He stepped up in Jack Carroll's absence. No goals, 3 behind, 6 inside 50s, 4 rebound 50s, no hit outs. Obviously, he's only small. 9 out of 10. Would have been close to best on ground for Carlton, which really is so important, really. It's one of them things that you just think to yourself, why aren't you kicking arse? Why aren't you kicking arse? And he finally did. Now, is that enough to play seniors? I don't think so, because this is the first time we've seen it all year against lesser opposition. He was industrious. Port, with all due respect to Port Melbourne, they are in a world of hurt, and we beat them up a little bit around the ball, and he took advantage on the spread. Want to see this next week against a side that is a decent-ish side, to be fair. Collingwood's VFL, they play an industrious brand of football. And for me, that is always going to be the risk with Lockie, because it's been poor this year. It's been poor from him. But good to see him back in amongst the ball and in amongst showcasing that booming kick of his. Very good game, 9 out of 10. Jackie Carroll left us at halftime. Migraine. Poor soul. For those who suffer with migraine, I've seen a few weird comments saying that's a cop-out. It ain't great. Started to build quite nicely, to be fair. 4 kicks, 9 handballs, 1 tackle, 1 mark, 3 clearances. Started to see him work the change, and it would have been interesting as we kind of broke the damn wall halfway through the second, how that would have looked from him, because I think he was starting to show a little bit. 5 out of 10, not much really can be said. It's Jack Carroll doing Jack Carroll things, to be fair. He looked very assured on the ball, looked to give it off in the right places and looked to do it. Another guy we lost who started on the ball this week, and Corey Durden, threatened, I thought, there to show you case a role. 2 kicks, 1 handball, 1 tackle, 1 mark, 3 out of 10. Thankfully, his shoulder's right. Great to see the VFL shelve him, to be fair, which they didn't often do. They seemed to play players. He had 2 knocks within 2 minutes. They shelved him. I hear it's a test. Harsh to rate him because it was very early on, but 3 out of 10 for him. Lockie Plowman, doing Lockie Plowman things in the VFL. Great to see him there because he really steadies the ship. Decent exit as well. 14 kicks, 6 handballs, 2 tackles, 6 marks, 1 clearance, 4 inside 50s, 4 rebound 50s, 7 out of 10. Really steady. He's a level setter. So when you've got your Cowans in this, when you've got your young developers, your Domakus and stuff, you've got this guy here as the benchmark of about AFL, just below AFL level. Real steady as well, real experience. He's got a cool head. You see him really execute pretty well. Probably the ship has long since sailed for AFL football, but it's great to have players like this in the VFL because they're standard setters. They're standard setters, and he looks assured. He soaked up everything that came his way, to be fair. Was very, 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 very cool customer. But 7 out of 10 for him. Didn't get the plaudits, I think, in the VFL rap, but arguably best on ground for me, Caleb Marchbank. Sensational. 10 marks, 9 intercept possessions. Anything that he saw, he destroyed. Playing that very, very centre-half back position. Now, it's interesting. Let's talk about AFL for a minute. We've seen a massive shift in Kemp and McGovern's game, and they've switched around, and Kemp has been given more of the priority to Rome. This guy's been playing centre-half back predominantly in the VFL. Has Voss shown his hand with the injuries to JSOS that McGovern goes forward? Now, it's a risk, but it's probably the most logical way to fix the AFL squad with that missing. Lewis Young obviously is that shout, but forward, you know Mitch McGovern's got 40 goals in the bank. He's had it before. He knows he can do it. Is this the time they shift it? Because you would think now, with Kemp taking that position, that kind of creates that paradox with McGovern of what you do with him. If there is a good trade offer, I think they may look at it. And if Caleb Marchbank can stay fit, 30 touches from the back half, peeling off, he was taking the pina colada. 21 kicks, 8 handballs, 10 marks, 9 intercept possessions, 1 clearance, 4 rebound, 4 inside. Touch of class. There's levels to this game, and Marchbank is it. If he can stay fit, boy, oh boy, what a player. Boy, oh boy, what a player. Mark Pernett, great return to form, and nice to see the guy do some work around the ground for a change. 8 kicks, 8 handballs, definitely struggled with injury. Solid return to form. 8 tackles, marks around the ground. Slotted him forward, which we don't often see from Mark Pernett until a couple of years ago. 1 goal, 1. 2 inside 50s, like we say, 18 hit outs. Good little run around for him. He was dominant. I mean, albeit against players that probably, I mean, Sam Naismith ain't bad. Let's be honest. I mean, he's 31 years old. He's played a little bit of footy, hasn't he, for Sydney, but he's nowhere near AFL level. Absolutely battered him. He battered him, to be fair, when he was on the ruck, and it's his game. Solid. Now, Duke out and bring him back. I mean, if you bring Young in, if you take Young out and you bring Pernett in, it's based on what Young did at the weekend. It's exactly the same. And Marchbank swinging forward, you've replaced JSOS, and you've probably got a positive in Marchbank down there. So you're probably actually ahead. It's just, can he work around the ground? That's the issue. That's the issue for me with Mark Pernett. There's no doubt his ruck work is good. You feel like you're 21 players on the field with Mark Pernett, because I feel like ruck work is really overstated when your midfield is dominant like Carlton. I mean, at the moment, the way the midfield is playing, you could probably pick the first 8 commenters in this chat to play ruck and they'd get their fair share of clearances. It was a solid game, though, from Peternet. Can he replicate it? Is it injury? Is it his game? He's never really been known at stretching the field on the ruck. He did try, though, this week. I've got to give him plaudits. The AFL, VFL website has him best on ground. I feel like that's a little bit of excitement because they saw him. Perspective, it was very good. Can he do that? He needs to, they need to be his numbers minimum in AFL. Minimum. Bare minimum. Can he do it? More than enough talent. Can he do it? Harry Lemmy, I am enjoying Harry Lemmy's development. We're starting to see a little bit of J-sauce about him as well, the way they're deploying him, pinching in the ruck, using his superior speed, using his good savvy. 5 kicks, 4 handballs, 2 tackles, 6 marks, 1 goal, 1 rebound, 50. He slopped behind the ball, believe it or not, when he was doing his ruck. 6 out of 10. I like what Lemmy's doing. I like the build. I like what we're doing with him. I like the slow burn. You can see he's working with some very good players in AFL training, and there's something to work with. Real sweet set shot as well. I'd like to see him get involved a bit more on the forward half, but I really like the strings he's adding to his game. I'm a big fan of the Lem Dog. Big fan. Jackson Binns. We seem to talk about this guy every week. It's him and Dow get the most plaudits in the VFL wrap, and 22 kicks, 12 handballs, 3 tackles, 7 marks, working like a beaver on his defensive transition. 2 clearances, 1 goal, 2. 4 inside 50s, 4 rebound 50s, 9 out of 10. Not listed as VFL best, which I'm surprised. They locked O'Brien in there. Conspiracy in me says it's because they don't select him and they're trying to downplay it. You can see why they don't select him. They're trying to put the time into him. Strings every week in his bow. Strings every week. Offensively, he is so strong. So strong. And you think he's only been kept out of the side by Cotters. We love Cotters. I don't think there is a massive amount different apart from body size between them. I think you would get very similar outputs, if not more. Especially, I said this about Dow. Dow benefits from having a real strong forward line in the VFL in the terms of tackle pressure. Jackson Binns is the same. Now we've got that tackle pressure. I don't mind seeing this guy in it because I think you're going to see the Crummers work overtime to protect him, which is so important. So important. Really good game. I don't know what, aside from eating Wagyu, I don't know what he can do. I think that rhymes. Not often we do that on this show. Great game. Great game. Really, really penetrating as well with his kick. Gets them meters gained, which is interesting. It's interesting because that's something that we're starting to see week out, and particularly around them clutch moments. Sam Durden, ever reliable. See what I said about Plowman. It's great to see him there. You can see why there was the rumours that he was ahead of Young, because his assurity around the ball is insane. 11 marks, his knowledge to know when to spoil and mark, which is where I think Lewis Young gets lost at times. It looks like he's caught between 2 places with it. There's an assurity to Sam Durden. 7 out of 10 game, really solid. Beat his man 9 times out of 10. Looked pretty good. When Naismith swapped forward as well, Sam Durden came to shine. Looked really reliable. Hudson O'Keefe, probably my most improved player in this 5-week block. Getting a lot of hit-outs. They shelved Pitternet in that 4th for the majority of it. 4 kicks, 1 handball, 5 tackles, 2 marks, 1 clearance, 2 goals. Sliding forward and back. He's starting to get a bit of confidence now. We're starting to see why Nick Austin rates him so much in the ruck. Some decent ruck craft. Definitely his work rate around the ball is really good as well. Starting to build into it. A little bit undersized. As you can see, he's only a bubba, but really showcasing some skills, and I'm excited about where Hudson will lead in the next couple of years. Definitely ahead of Murkoff where he was, and we saw Murkoff's development in the ruck. So bearing in, if he has the same rate of incline as he did, I'd imagine he'll be ready for AFL football back end next year. Dom A, my boy. I love Dom, and I feel like we pick on him because it feels like he's holding himself back. He does a lot right. 4 tackles, the 2 marks. He attacks the ball. They've given him an extension, which I understand because it's fuck all risk. Because there is something there. It feels like he's playing within himself. I really like Dommy A, though. He's got something about him. I want him to take the game on a little bit more. Now, when Plowman, you imagine Plowman will either be put up for trade bait or will get a lesser role next year now they're giving this guy a contract. I want to see this guy have Plowman's job. I really do. Give him the ball. Put a bit of pressure under his kick in. Let him take it on. He always feels like he's playing with inside himself. And he's not utilising his assets, bless him. Made some leaps and bounds, but I just feel like now, show me your old skills as well. Show me that attack on the ball, that intent, that pace, that turn of pace. So 4 out of 10 from Dom. I feel like he's due a big game. I really do. He just needs to get outside his head. I love Dom. So he's got another year. That takes a bit of pressure on. Now start showcasing it because next year's go time for me. That is the VFL wrap. Let me know what you thought. Some very good performances, some intriguing selections coming ahead. Look after yourselves. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm out.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats.